Okay, what's up everybody? Good morning. So today I wanted to talk about The Shining. It is one of my favorite scary movies of all time. Just a show of hands, just right off the bat, who's actually seen this movie? Okay, there's a few people, that's good. If you haven't checked it out yet, I'd really recommend it. It's like one of my favorite films to watch around Halloween, so if you want to try something new this year, that would be awesome. So yeah, I first saw this film when I was about 15 years old, and it instantly resonated with me, I think just because of the direction from Stanley Kubrick, and how he used like atmosphere and setting to create, to get the scares that he wanted. And at that time in my life, I had only been used to like the cheesy kind of 80s slasher films like Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I Know What You Did Last Summer, like all those ones. And those are good movies, no doubt, but they rely on, gore and jump scares to get that feeling of terror. And I just thought it was cool that The Shining did that, but just with good cinematic techniques. So before we get into The Shining, I wanted to talk about Stanley Kubrick because I feel like he is the creative force behind the film and what makes it stand out to so many people. Who's familiar with some other Kubrick films other than The Shining? Just Chris? Just the Chris's? Okay, sweet, that's good. So yeah, he's directed films like Full Metal Jacket, which is a Vietnam War movie, 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is like a super impactful film. Both George Lucas and Steven Spielberg actually said that it was a huge inspiration for them because it came out when they were actually in film school. Super visionary movie. I'd also suggest that one if you guys haven't seen it yet. Clockwork Orange, which is probably Kubrick's strangest film. It was actually banned in the UK during the time that he was alive, and then when he died, they actually brought it back into theaters because people were saying that it was inspiring like crimes and like murders and stuff like that. So it's a pretty weird one. I've also included some cinematic stills from each movie. I think these just kind of exemplify Kubrick's direction style and kind of what makes him such an impactful director. Just a side note, I thought it was pretty sweet how in last class they were talking about the rule of thirds, and the guy in the video actually gave Kubrick as an example. He actually does use symmetry a lot, like you can see in these two shots right here, to create that feeling of tension, and I think that's like pretty sweet how he referenced it. Yeah, so I'll jump into the film now. So it's starring Jack Nicholson as Jack Torrance, Shelley Duvall as Wendy Torrance, his wife. Fun fact about this scene in particular, it actually holds the Guinness Book of World Records for largest number of takes in a single scene. I believe I read online that Kubrick made her do this scene 127 times. So that's maybe part of the reason why she looks so stressed out right there. Kind of cool. And then Danny Lloyd, who plays Danny Torrance, his son. Another fun fact, he was actually only in one film. It was this film. So he acted in this film and then never did anything else. So yeah, the film revolves around the Torrance family. Jack's character gets a job at the Overlook Hotel as the janitor for the winter because the hotel shuts down because it's inaccessible by highway because it's so snowy or whatever. So as they move in, they kind of start to realize that the hotel is like haunted. Some weird stuff starts to happen with the son. He develops like this kind of telekinetic like power, and he can see like all the ghosts in the hotel and stuff. And it actually has an impact on Jack as well, and he ends up going insane and attempting to murder his own family. Cool fact about this scene right here, does anybody know the line that's associated with this scene? You guys? Okay, so he like essentially breaks through the door with an axe and yells, "Here's Johnny." It's like super iconic. Nicholson actually improvised that line, so that was right off the top of his head, so I thought that was pretty cool. He actually also wrote a scene for the film. Him and Kubrick had a really good working relationship. Okay. What's that? Exactly, right? He's just a crazy guy to begin with. So. Yeah, so like on the surface level with the plot, it might seem like kind of a generic movie. You have a family trapped in a haunted hotel, and there's an axe-wielding murderer after them. But I think it's the meticulous level of detail that Kubrick puts into his films that makes them stand out and makes them resonate with so many audience members. So I just wanted to detail one of the coolest features of this film. So there's actually spatial impossibilities within the set design. I pulled up a couple of examples. So there's a few scenes where you get like long continuous follow shots of Danny riding his bike through the hotel. And there's like, if you map out like certain rooms or like the Colorado Lounge, for example, you find out that there's hallways and rooms that don't actually exist, like they're impossible spatially. So on the surface level, it might seem like just kind of sloppy filmmaking on Kubrick's part, but I think everything that he does is actually intentional, and I think that these spatial impossibilities serve to create a subconscious feeling of discomfort within the hotel, and it just really plays into the entire atmosphere of the whole movie, which I think is really cool because it's super subtle and like you would never notice these impossibilities on first viewing, but once you find out about them, it just kind of speaks volumes to Kubrick's direction style. Yeah, that's all I have for my presentation. I hope you guys were able to learn a little bit more about the film, and like I said, if you haven't seen it already, I strongly suggest that you check it out.